Hey everybody, thank you so much for joining us once again on a live session. As usual, my name is Nyambura, and if you're listening into this live session, I would like to welcome you to send in your comment. Where are you listening from? And what are you hoping to gain from this live session once again? And if you have not yet subscribed to this channel, I don't know what you're waiting for. This channel is now about study abroad, life abroad. Sometimes it's about nutrition. Once in a while, I should go back to doing some nutrition videos, honestly. But today's video is once again about study abroad. And guess where? We are talking about studying in the UK. And once again, we have a program here known as Chevening Scholarship. I'm very careful in pronouncing that because I don't even know whether I should be saying it in my mother tongue. If I say it in my mother tongue, you might all laugh, and just think it. Don't say it loud. But today we are going to be talking about the Chevening Scholarship. And this is a scholarship that is for master's students who would like to actually study in the UK. And quite a lot of you have been asking me about Chevening. How do I go about my application? How about the essays that I need to write? There are 3 essays that I need to write. So how do I go about this? And all these kind of things that all of you have been asking. So today is the day to answer all those questions. And if you're listening to this live stream, once it's already been recorded, please feel free to leave your comment and let us know. Did you apply for it? Have you been applying? Have you been trying? What is your process really? And let us help you. Let us interact with you. And, all the good vibes that this channel has been bringing. Thank you so much for staying on. And feel free to leave your comment on the section down below, obviously, in case you also want to maybe send your question on any one of the social media handles, on Facebook, on Twitter, Instagram, name it. Go ahead and do that. Yeah. So I don't know whether you are ready for today. So I have my great friend. Her name is Nyambura Kangara. She is a Chevening alumna. And she is ready to dish out all the tips that she has have up her sleeve because she's gone through the whole process. She's applied for it. She went through into the UK and studied her master's. And believe me, she's a wealth, and I mean a wealth of tips for your application. So stay tuned. Ask your question, leave your comment wherever you are, share this with someone who might benefit from it, and let's get started. So let me introduce her. I should have a round of applause somewhere, I don't know, but let me introduce her. Her name is Nyambura. Hi, Nyambura, how are you? Nyambura, we can't hear you, okay.
No. I was just laughing because what an introduction. Thank you so much, Nduta, for this invitation. I'm very honored to be on your platform. My name is Nyambura Kangara, and I'm a sustainability professional, and more importantly, in line with this show, a Chevening alumni. I'm looking forward to sharing all the tidbits that and answer all your questions, any questions you might have. So let's get started.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, you're very humble in how you introduce yourself, and I love it, honestly speaking. So I know that you've gone through the process, and Nyambura, and you know what? Can you tell us, when did you actually study your Chevening masters?
I'm from the Chevening group of 2016-2017, which means that I have made my application in 2015. Yeah.
Okay, so let's get started. So you're from Kenya, right? And so how did you even hear about Chevening? How did you decide that, hey, this is actually the program that I want to study? And there would have been so many other programs.
Yeah.
Or anywhere in the world, but you chose this one. Why this
one? It's actually interesting because I don't know if I've mentioned this to you before, but it actually has a tie to you. I don't know if you recall a conversation we had way back in 2014. Just to let everyone who's listening in, Nduta was in Portugal, And I reached out to her because we'd studied together in Kenya for our undergraduate degree. And I asked her, what are you doing in Portugal? And she said her master's. So I was very interested. How did she get there? And she gave me some information. Portugal is a great country, but I've always been very interested in studying in the UK. So I started doing my own research, and based on the wealth of information I also got on scholarship applications from Duta, I chanced upon the Chevening Scholarship and decided to give it a try. So I had never heard of it before, and so it was a first time trial, and it worked out.
Wow.
Which is amazing, yeah.
First time trial, and it worked out. Like you just gave it your all, and boom, there you are.
Yeah.
So I know, first of all, if you're listening to this and you're wondering, so who is Chevening and what is even Chevening really? So, I mean, people hear mainstream programs, they're always like, oh, I want to go maybe to the US, I want to go to the UK and maybe study under Commonwealth Scholarship. So, what exactly is Chevening, if you can tell us? Chevening Scholarship, to be specific.
I'll sum it up. Chevening is basically a fully funded 1-year master's degree program, and it's awarded to students or people who show exemplary leadership qualities.
All right.
Yeah, it's awarded by the Foreign Commonwealth Office.
Yeah.
So it's from the UK government.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's fully funded by the UK government. Exclusive.
Yeah.
So which means that you can study anywhere in any of the universities in the UK as well as Scotland, correct?
Exactly. You can study in any of the 4 territories in the UK. So you can apply to Wales, England, what's the other one? Scotland, where I actually studied, and Northern Ireland.
Perfect. So you have all these opportunities. I mean, you are spoiled for choice because you can choose universities in any one of those territories in the UK.
Exactly.
So one thing that I am curious about, I mean, is it just open to Commonwealth countries, or it's open to anyone globally in the first place? Because we might have some listeners who are actually listening in from a country that is not a Commonwealth country.
If I recall correctly, it's open to anyone in the Commonwealth countries. And what I actually really liked about Chevening is that they do not have an upper age limit. Yeah. So as long as you have an undergraduate degree, so from if you're 18 till whatever age, you could technically apply to Chevening, 18, 60, 80, I guess.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so age is not a number there.
No. It's not a defining factor, no.
Okay, great to know. So now, if let's talk about somebody who just graduated, maybe in Kenya, and you say that they really look at the leadership skills that you might have had before.
Right.
So say you graduated just maybe in December, and you are looking to actually apply for this program. And guys, if you're listening to this, actually, the Chevening Scholarship Program would be open from August. So please, this is the right time to actually begin, preparing ahead of time, because there's a lot that comes with the application process, which we are going to actually talk about very shortly. So if somebody graduated in December and they really, really want to come into this program and they are wondering how to show these leadership skills, can they maybe show some leadership skills by the virtue that maybe they were involved in a certain club in the university? For instance, yourself and me, we actually graduated from the Kenyatta University. But we graduated from Kenyatta University, and we had quite a number of great clubs like ISEC and all these kind of clubs that were in Kenyatta University. And you might have been involved in a certain club in whatever the capacity, maybe chairman, whatever, chair lady, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So can you use that, or maybe can you use any other leadership skill you might have acquired from a volunteer experience or kind of a thing to justify your leadership skills? Yes or no?
Yes. So I believe leadership can be exemplified or shown in different ways. And what you've mentioned, clubs are one of the ways you could show leadership. You could also show leadership. Maybe you were a class prefect in your heydays.
Yeah.
That's another way of showing leadership, because in my experience, and I'm quoting my experience because it's very specific to me. It's what I did. Um, what In my own essays on leadership, what I did was tie the things that I was doing. So, for example, I used to play chess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I was not particularly in any chess club, but by the virtue of playing, by the virtue of playing chess, and that self management,
Okay.
and going from uh, wondering how to explain this.
No, it's
Probably,
okay. Yeah.
going on to win a few chess championships here and there.
Okay.
I was able to tie that
Yes.
and show some sort of leadership qualities, because you have to. It's the hardest part, I think, is bringing it out in writing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to tie, okay, so I was playing this game, I was participating in a sport.
Right.
Yeah. What
Yeah.
was my role in that sport that
Okay.
could exemplify a leadership quality?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have to tie
Absolutely.
it to something. Yeah.
So, which means that, like I keep saying on this channel, sometimes the way we speak as Africans
Mhm.
usually translates to how we write
Yeah.
on the paper. So you might find that you write a statement of purpose with so many words coming
Mhm.
from Nairobi all the way to Mombasa. You're telling so many stories just to say one thing.
Yeah.
And you said a very good point here, like translating what you've been doing,
Mhm.
in terms of leadership on paper. So
Yeah.
it's always very, very, very important to know how to do that and how to
Mhm.
tell the story
Yeah.
in the few words, because I am sure that the statements of purpose or the motivation letters that you actually write, they have a limit of, I think, 500 words. I might be
Yeah.
wrong, right?
Mhm.
Great. So that is one thing that, of course, somebody has to realize that yes, it's open for you if you actually just graduated recently, as long as you show that for sure you have had some sort of leadership skills, guys. And like, this opportunity is not too far fetched. Like I keep saying on this channel, once again, people need to really push themselves out there, and especially Kenyans need to, understand that these opportunities are also for them. So thank you so much for staying on with us. And guys, if you're listening to this here, please leave your comment. Tell us where you're listening from, whether you're planning to actually apply for this, whether this is for your cousin, your relative, your ex, maybe. I don't know. Whatever it might be, you go ahead and let us know whether this information is something that you're going to use or it's for
Mhm.
somebody else. So
Yeah.
now, could you please tell us, so where did you actually study? Which university did you study?
Mhm.
Which course did you do? How long was it? And how exactly was it actually?
Mhm.
The studies, the curriculum, and the difference between the studying in Kenya and studying
Mhm.
in Scotland. It's a whole gap. So,
Yeah.
can you tell us how was it?
Of course. So I went to the University of Edinburgh, and this is in Scotland. Scotland is very, very cold. So that was a shocker when I got there. I didn't realize how cold it would be compared to my small hometown.
Yeah.
The study program was 1 year, so it's very rigorous because I was studying an MSc in African Studies,
Okay.
and the first and second semester
Yeah.
were basically taking courses,
Okay.
and then the last semester, which is sort of like a third semester,
Okay.
was writing my thesis. Yeah.
Right.
So it's very fast paced,
Yeah.
and a huge difference I might have experienced
Right.
was coming from the 844 system.
Mhm. Yes.
The 844 system churns out a lot of cut and paste, you know?
Great.
Yeah. So, and what I mean by cut and paste is what if it's a geography test and you probably studied, I don't know, say the Rift Valley,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
they're likely going to ask you, tell us about the Rift Valley. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
But studying studying in the UK, at least at Edinburgh, was different for me because I had to explain a lot of concepts and how they tie into the real world. Yeah.
Right. Right. Right.
So, how do I apply what I'm learning to the actual world? And it's not something that I was used to doing. I was used to studying, taking exams, and then that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So learning how to put my ideas on paper and making presentations was something that I had to learn afresh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Amazing. So, which means that you had to unlearn some of the things that perhaps
Mhm.
at Kenyatta University, or
Yes.
and you just don't know what 844 means. It means 8 years in primary school, 8 years in secondary school, and
Yeah.
8 years in university education, which is your first
Mhm.
degree, which can be quite a huge task if you're in Kenya. But
Yeah.
we're not going to talk about the Kenyan education system because it might take us the whole week or a day or whatever.
Yeah.
But the thing I want also to circle back is about the application process. So here you are, you've already graduated from Kenyatta University. You've been doing all these kind of things. You already mentioned something to do with chess and the fact that you'd played chess, and that was also a basis for you to show that you have some leadership skills.
Mhm.
So now, how was the application process? You spot this opportunity and you're like, bingo, this is it.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna go for Erasmus, like
Mhm.
I'm not going to go for EAD in Germany or wherever. I'm not going to go to Australia. You're like, this is it.
Yeah.
So can you take us through the application process? So you find the application and then you read through and you're like, yes, you read through the application guidelines and what is
Mhm.
required of you. And can you talk to us about that? The
Okay.
requirements needed
Mhm. Mhm.
and how you went about doing the application as an individual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I succinctly remember coming across the opportunity in July of 2015.
Yeah.
And when I read through the requirements, they seemed very straightforward to me. Yeah.
Okay.
But then at the same time, there's this mentality that we tend to have that, for someone to acquire a scholarship or for someone to acquire, uh, like an opportunity, you need to know someone.
Yeah.
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 And this opportunity came at a time when I was not working.
Right.
So I had not been able to secure a job. And a lot of the rhetoric behind that was if you don't know anybody,
Yeah.
you're really not just going to be able to secure the job. Then I see the opportunity and I read through it. Okay, undergraduate degree, tick.
Right.
2 years working or volunteer experience, tick. You know,
Yeah.
Commonwealth citizen, tick. And then there's the three questions. So I read through them and I was a little scared to make the application
Yeah.
because I thought my efforts would go to waste.
Okay.
Because if they are picking the ndutas and the I don't know
Yeah.
janes of like certain sectors,
Yeah.
then I likely wouldn't get it.
Yeah.
But I spoke to a friend of mine and he said to me, I wouldn't know if I didn't apply.
Right.
So I decided, you know what, I have nothing to lose.
Exactly.
You have absolutely nothing to lose. So I had nothing to lose, so I started the application. And I wrote my resume. I answered the three questions, but I didn't send it out immediately because I believe a lot in peer review. So
Right.
I sent it to one of my mentors.
Okay.
and he sent back the document full of red marks.
Yeah,
And I thought to myself,
this is it. I'm not gonna play.
yeah,
Yeah,
seemed like a useless essay.
yeah,
So I corrected everything, sent it back to him,
yeah.
but based on what he'd the comments he'd made, I also sent it to another friend of mine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this friend had been through a master's program as well and through a scholarship, but in the US.
Yeah.
So he was also able, he came back. Now I have the first person who's given me tons of comments. Then the
Right.
second person comes back with a lot of comments, even on, what had corrected from the first person. So
Yeah.
it was a lot of back and forth. And that's when I decided to go back to the drawing board and say
Right.
to myself, Chevening has given me 3 months,
Yeah.
August to November,
Exactly.
to make this application. I'm going to take a month for each question.
Okay.
I'm going to make sure that I ace these questions. Yeah.
So it means that there are usually 3 interview questions that you must answer. Right.
I wouldn't call them interview questions. Let's call them 3 Chevening questions, because the Chevening interview is a completely different
Yeah.
process and they have a
Okay.
lot more. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and the first one is on leadership skills, which you mentioned.
Okay.
The second one is on networking skills. And the third one is on your future career plans.
Okay.
Yeah. So the first month, I dedicated it to my leadership abilities.
Right.
Then the second month to the networking skills.
Mhm.
And the third month to the future career. Yeah.
Okay.
So with leadership, like I'd said, you can tie your leadership skills to any role that you've held up until that point. If you did not have a lot of work experience like I did,
Yeah.
you can tie to tasks that you are given and you're able to show some sort of ownership with the tasks. With
Exactly.
networking skills, it's how you interact with people and how you can tie it back
Okay.
to how it applies to that networking question. And then obviously future career plans, they're very they tie back to the individual. What do you want to do with this degree?
Mhm.
You
Yes.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So which means that each of the 3 parts, you have to write an essay for each of those 3.
Yeah.
Correct?
Correct.
And each of these essays are 500 words, which is
Mhm.
where so many people scratch their heads, they scratch their bodies, and it's a lot of work to
Yeah.
actually actualize on paper or in
Mhm.
words, rather, that,
Yeah.
I'm a good candidate because I have these leadership skills,
Mhm.
and come on, I have some good future plans. I plan to go back to my country because I
Yeah.
know one of the core missions of Chevening is that
Mhm.
you have to go back to your country. I don't know whether it's still the same, to go back
It
to your
is.
country for at least 2 years, if I'm not wrong, before
Mhm.
you can maybe decide to come back abroad or something of the
Yeah.
sort, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Mhm.
now you took each month to write one essay.
Yeah.
And did you have somebody to read these essays by any chance, or you just wrote
Yeah,
them?
I did. I
Yeah,
did. That's what I mentioned by peer review. I had 2 people
yeah,
that I would circle back to with my essays, yeah?
yeah,
Because this was the first time I was doing it and I wanted to do it properly because in retrospect, the maybe one of the reasons, apart from the job market being very stiff in Kenya,
yeah,
one of the reasons maybe I'd not been able to find a job was because I was not doing a lot of peer review with my resume. Because when they reviewed my resume, they had a lot of things to point out. Yeah. So I thought to myself, okay, I need to do this correctly. Now I have a good resume. How about some good essays? Yeah.
yeah.
So I'd constantly, um, send my essays to them and have them make comments so that I could present my story in the best way possible because everybody has a story and we often have very good stories, but how we articulate those stories is something different.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it takes a lot of refining for those of us who need practice
Yeah.
to articulate that story in the best way possible. So, how do you articulate your networking skills? Yeah.
Right.
Some of you are natural talkers, so you easily draw people to you, or you're able to sway decisions here and there.
Yeah.
But how do you put that on paper
Yeah.
in 500 words at that?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of pressure.
Mhm.
Guys, and I want to give Nyambura here a quick break, and then we'll be right back to speak about Chevening. And if you are listening to us from wherever you're listening us from, please leave your comments. I already seen some comments here. Just on, I see some of you who've joined us already, and I have quite a number of questions actually on my Instagram, my Twitter, my Facebook. Guys, I know that you have been preparing for this moment in time. And I mean, I one of the major questions that every one of you has been asking is about the S's, and we are going to now go into that very shortly. However, I want to let you know that this program is something that you can actually apply for, and even if you apply for it once, maybe twice, then please do not have what we call emotional investment, because this is something that has been killing quite a number of people, scholarship applicants. And we've talked about a number of applications on this channel, a number of scholarships. I always talk about Erasmus and how people feel that, you know what, I put in all so much effort only to get a rejection letter. And this is something that I've been talking about very much lately, so in terms of you not investing so much into any type of application, be it a job, be it a scholarship. Honestly speaking, what you need to do is just do the application, do your very, very best, and forget about it. Like that's a Kenyan thing that we actually always say: just apply and forget. You have nothing to lose, right? So I mean, if you're listening to this, then you're listening to it at the very right time, because we are in April. The applications will open again in August. So you have May, June, July, 3 good months to even begin writing those essays as soon as now. And in fact, what you can do for yourself is do your due diligence. Find somebody who can be a mentor. Go on LinkedIn, introduce yourself very nicely. Don't just go and say hi and then keep quiet and expect this person to respond to you. Go do your due diligence on LinkedIn. Find somebody who might have been an alumni or an alumna of Chevening Scholarship and let them know that, hey, I am trying to actually apply for this scholarship. I am stuck here and there. I've been doing ABCDE. Are you in a position to assist me? Are you in a position to maybe review my, statements, my 3 essays? Are you able to review my documents? Perhaps you're stuck in terms of the documentation that you need for this application. Are you able to review and assist me here and there? Shoot your shot. You gotta shoot your shot for any scholarship, honestly speaking. Whether it's the Chevening, whether it's Erasmus, whether it's in Germany, wherever, you have to shoot your shot and put your best foot forward. And I do hope that these sessions actually assist you in ensuring that you feel empowered. You feel empowered that this is not a far-fetched opportunity, because we here are examples that it can be done. Like I keep saying to people here, I applied for Erasmus twice. The first time I never got it. I got it the second time. So I don't know what more you would need, what more motivation you would need, for you to actually get started already and make sure that you finish, because that's the other thing with Kenyans, because we get so excited about these scholarship opportunities, etc. We begin the application, we get tired, we feel it's too much work, and then just when it's about, the deadline is about to happen, you're like rushing the very last minute. You're like, oh my God, I have to finish a certain application. And then you do what? You forward a very low quality application. And in the end, you're just crying and saying, oh, they don't accept Kenyans, those guys. They don't like Kenyans. No, they don't like them. That's not it, guys. You have to do the work, right? And that's why we're here. So I want us to go back to the discussion, because I might digress a lot here. So, and Nyambura is here, I'm very privileged to actually speak to her. So she's here to give all the tips or application to the Chevening Scholarship. So she was taking a glass of water. Believe me, on this channel, we are very free. So she definitely was taking a little break, and I know she's ready to dish out the next set of tips. And again, of course, please feel free to ask your questions. Send in your comment. We're going to deal with those very shortly. Once again, thank you so much for staying on. And Nyambura, the water is down the throat.
Yes.
Yes. So now, I just want us to touch into, you've mentioned that you need the 3 S's. So into the documentation that you need. And you had mentioned before about your CV. And of course, your undergraduate certificate, you do need that. Of course, the one thing that should go without saying is a passport. Before you even apply for any type of scholarship abroad, you just go do your passport. First things first.
Exactly.
So, what other documents do you need for this application? And of course, again, I would want you to also touch on the CV. Is there a certain format that you require, or it's just any type of format that you can use for your CV? And what exactly should you put into that CV? Those are so many questions. So let's start with the documentation that you need. We've already stipulated the 3 S's. We've already paid, of course, your undergraduate certificate. And your passport is something that is, of course, has to happen. So what other documents do you need?
I think you've actually mentioned them all. And also to remember is Chevening has an online application system, and you need to be able to display the 2 years work experience. You need to be very succinct about it, especially when you apply to the scholarship at the very beginning of your career or at the very end of your undergraduate program. Yeah. So you need to make sure that, I think the last time I checked, it was 2,800 hours.
Okay.
Yeah, which is very specific. I think that's 2 years of work, and it needs to be demonstrated. So I have no idea what the application form currently looks like, but if I do recall correctly, you had to fill in your work experience or resume to reflect that amount of time. And and
800 hours, you say. So which means it's 2 years of work. Do you need maybe like an employer to sign something on this, or no?
No.
Okay.
But speaking of which, you do need references.
Okay.
Yeah. So you need 3 references who will be contacted to vouch for you.
Okay.
But this will be asked for, I think, during if you've been invited to an interview.
Okay.
So when you're gathering your documents, I would say make sure that you're not eliminated on the basis of you don't have 2 years of work or volunteer experience.
Okay.
Maybe you just filled in 1.5 years or 1 year 9 months.
Yeah.
Make sure the form is accurately filled, because that's the first bit where the elimination process starts. And also to remember that you said something interesting in your commentary, that people just need to apply to it.
Yeah.
And people do apply to it, a lot of people. So in my year, I think there was 0 point something chance of getting in, because there were thousands of applications.
Yeah.
So you need to make sure that your application is not eliminated in the first round just based on filling the form in wrongly. Yeah, because if they have thousands, like maybe 50,000 people applying and they only need 2,000 across the world, it's a very slim chance of getting in. So you need to make sure that you are on top of your game in terms of form filling, even before you go to the S's.
Okay, so that is something that can disqualify you very, very easily. So okay, and then so the other thing that I want to ask is that do you separately apply for admission to a UK university first before
Mhm.
you can submit your application for the scholarship?
No.
Or okay,
No, what you do is you submit your application to the scholarship, and then they need you to choose three universities. Yeah.
yeah,
So, for example, the first time Edinburgh, University of Edinburgh, was not even in my first three choices. Yeah.
yeah,
So I'd chosen three other universities that I will not mention,
yeah.
and then by the time they called me in for the interview,
Mhm.
I had decided on other universities, and University of Edinburgh happened to be one of them. It happened to
Okay,
be my first choice. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so which means that they give you the choices, or you have to do your own studies within the UK and see where you want to study, depending on what exactly you
Mhm.
want to study. And
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So you have to do your own research. Where do I want to study? Do I want to go to England? Do I want to go to Wales, Northern Ireland? You
okay,
know?
yeah,
So, and there's thousands of universities in the UK.
yeah,
So you have a wide range of choice. So if, for example, you want to go to Oxbridge, for example,
yeah.
and your best course is in one of those universities, choose one of those universities. If you want to go to Northern Ireland for some reason, to go maybe to the University of Belfast,
Yeah.
like any university, they do not care. Yeah.
Okay, absolutely amazing. So you're spoiled for choice, honestly.
Mhm.
So I mean, it's not constricting. So that's one of the things. But do you have to also justify the choice of the university? So, for example, maybe you chose this university because you want to study A, B, C, D, E, maybe sustainability,
Yes.
or
Hmm.
maybe somebody wants to study business administration, and
Yeah.
perhaps they saw that this university, the lecturers who are teaching in that department might have done some sort of work maybe in Kenya or some sort of work within the same field, and that's the reason why you
Hmm.
are choosing it. So, do you have to justify in that line or not?
Um, Not, at least not during the initial application process.
Okay.
But I do recall during my interview being asked why University of Edinburgh.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had a number of reasons because I like Scotland as a country.
Okay.
And the other thing was I'd done my research on touristic areas where I wanted to go to in Scotland. I mentioned that as well. And then more importantly, the specific reasons why I wanted that university and that particular course, I also had to justify that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Hmm.
Guys, so you've had it. Honestly, these are things that are doable. They are not far-fetched stuff that we are talking about
Hmm.
here. Only
Yeah.
that you have to really, really, really put your best foot forward and make sure that you're on point in all these kind of documents and essays that we are talking about. So one thing that I want us to delve into is into the essays. There are
Yeah.
three essays that you write, and we've
Mhm.
already like kind of spoken about, you know what, you have to translate the skills very well on paper. So
Yeah.
what are some of the do's and don'ts about these essays? Because you
Mhm.
know what, sometimes you might just read an essay and you're like, okay, this person is just having filler words in between
Yeah.
and not saying anything per se. So
Mhm.
what are some of the do's and don'ts that you have to actually go by when you're writing these essays?
Um, so I don't have a list to go with, but I'll give you I'll tell you a little story
Yeah.
about a friend of mine.
Okay.
And this friend got Chevening on the third try. Yeah.
Wow.
So the first time she applied to the Chevening Award,
Yeah.
um, she didn't get it. Then
Okay.
the second time,
Yeah.
I remember she contacted me and we looked at her essays. And one of the things I noticed in her essays was, for example, the networking skills. Yeah.
Okay.
Networking. You're trying to explain your networking skills, but all you're using are very, very high level words.
Okay.
it's like I'm a good networker. I'm
Yeah.
able to talk to people and do ABC. Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
It explains networking, yes, but does it does not tell the story of your networking, if you know what I mean. Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. So you need I from my experience, I feel you need to tell a story. Yeah.
Right.
Because if you do not tell a story of how, what are your networking skills? Can
Right.
you show us an example of your networking skills?
Okay.
The way I did it in my essay was to explain, not to explain what networking is because they already know that, sorry,
Yeah.
but to go directly into examples of how I've networked before. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and one of my networking examples was with this. Now I almost forget the name. Journey. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We used to have a program at Kenyatta University called
Yes.
Journey.
Yes.
And this was a program where students met every Friday evening, and there would be singing and dancing, and there would be some maybe some leader, not some people sort of preaching, and yeah, I think you can explain it better because you you inducted me into Journey actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was one of my examples.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just trying to explain how I was in this society, and this is how I interacted with it, and
Okay.
this was the benefit of it to me.
Okay.
And even going a little further, just trying to
Yes.
be there a good student to explain how, of what benefit I was to it. Like, this
Right.
is what I gained,
Yeah.
but this is what I also gave back.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have to be very articulate in terms of the thoughts that you have. Perhaps maybe even
Exactly.
have a separate book where you're writing your thoughts into
Mhm,
what should go into the final paper and what should not
mhm,
go into. Because as human beings, we have several facets of even
mhm.
networking. So it could
Yeah,
be maybe you have networking maybe within your social spheres or maybe
exactly.
within your employment spheres. So you have to
Exactly.
really
Yeah.
think what you need to write on that paper, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, I think that should be some very good guide for anyone who is listening. I don't know why people shy away from those three
Mhm,
S, and they're like it's quite a lot for them.
mhm, mhm,
But I guess we've said here, like you have
mhm.
to think about your life very critically. So, and what you've been through, and
Yeah.
what story you want to tell, right?
Mhm.
And whether it
Exactly.
makes
Yeah.
sense or not, and let someone read it. Don't feel shy to share it to someone else
Exactly. Yeah.
to criticize, right?
Yeah, ask for help. I
Yeah,
think an integral part of this process is asking for help.
yeah,
Do not be scared to ask for help. I know there's people who'll say, maybe if I ask for help, they're going to steal my ideas and stuff like that.
yeah,
But I don't know, there's, at least to me, there's really nothing like that. Your ideas are your personal stamp. Yeah.
yeah. Absolutely,
So ask for help
yeah,
from people you trust, and ask for help from, reach out to people. There's a lot of Chevening scholars out there. I think Chevening has been there for so many years. I don't even remember how many years, but for
absolutely.
so many years. So there's thousands of Chevening scholars. And so, for example, in my case, during the after I'd applied to Chevening, I discovered a facet that I hadn't. There were Chevening scholars everywhere, so I reached out to Chevening scholars from different countries, and this is as simple as going to the Chevening Facebook group.
Okay,
And even the Chevening Facebook group is a really good resource, yeah?
right.
Because when you go through the comments and you see and interact with the kind of discussions people are having,
Yeah,
able to get a lot of ideas
yeah,
on how to approach your essays, how to, and if you're already past essay process and you've been called to an interview, how to approach your interview,
Yeah.
you know?
Yes.
So not just asking for help from from people in
Anyone.
circles, yeah, but also taking the initiative to find resources
Yes.
that allow you to help yourself.
Absolutely. Okay. So which means that you have to be very strategic in whom you're asking for help, because you might just be wasting time. Someone might just be reading your, essay and not necessarily knowing what to tell you in terms of don't write
Exactly.
this or remove this or the other. So that's a very good point you make. So you have to be very strategic in who you want to mentor you through the process, really.
Yeah.
And the type of information that you consume, even on social media, whether it's going to be relevant to what exactly you're trying to maybe achieve. Even so, that's a very good point you make. And one thing that I also want us to speak about is
Yeah.
the interview process, because that's another hurdle. So
Yeah.
you've now gone through the whole essay process. You've checked your documents. Everything is on point, and you're like, you know what? This is time to hit the submit button. And you're like, yes, boom, gone.
Yeah.
Like, you
Yeah.
forgot about it, and then finally you find an email saying, hey, we're inviting you for an interview, and you're like, okay, nerves are back. So how do you even behave? Anyways, so can you take us through the interview process of Chevening? Because I've had enough stories already, and I've seen quite a number of people even doing mock-up interviews, because I know it's quite a lot as well. So how was your experience, if you don't mind sharing? I mean, it's years later.
First of all, I was very excited, obviously, when I received the invitation. I remember I was somewhere out in the wild driving with my friend Resian, and the email came through, and there's a way Chevening writes, so that you have no idea whether you're in or not when you see the email, So, and I said to my friend, I don't think I want to open it.
Yeah. You're so scared.
She's this really strong lady. So she stopped the car and said to me, bring that phone,
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So she took my phone and she was like, oh my God, you got in.
Yeah.
But
no way.
No way. Yeah. Because even then, there's just this sense in like you're competing with so many people from across the world. So it almost seems unreal that they would choose you, you know?
Yes.
Yeah, but they'd chosen me. Amazing. Yeah. And considering the point of my life where I was, which is a whole other story, I couldn't believe it. It was raining, we danced in the rain, and it was just an amazing feeling. Yeah. So one of the things that the email stated was, first of all, obviously, congratulations, amazing. But they indicated that I had to choose an interview date. Yeah.
Yeah.
So my advice would be pick the farthest interview date.
Okay.
Yeah. don't be like maybe you've been practicing and you can pick the soonest one. Yeah.
Right.
But I chose the farthest interview date that they had. Yeah. And you have to maybe there's people with the same strategy.
Okay.
So you have to be very conscious to respond to that email as soon as possible. So pick the farthest date, because to me, that gave me enough time to practice. Yeah. So now you've chosen your interview date.
Yeah.
Go back online.
Okay.
Because like I said before, Chevening is for people who exemplify leadership qualities. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Go back online, self-ownership.
Yeah.
One, what are people saying on Facebook Chevening groups?
Right.
There's alumni groups as well. Reach out to them and ask, what questions did they get, stuff like that.
Right.
That is exactly what I did. I went on Facebook and, to the comment section because I think they've already done this pre-selection now,
Right.
but January and February,
Okay.
they're buzzing moments for the Chevening page. Yeah.
Yeah.
People are always checking who's in, who's out, and stuff like that. And if you're in,
Yeah.
you'll constantly notice there's people who want to form groups. So
Right.
I was very lucky because I found people. My first contact was actually a Jamaican girl.
Wow.
Yeah, and she said, "Oh, I've been invited to the interview as well. Would you like to practice together?"
Yeah.
And then, she formed a Facebook group and she added me to it. And then we just kept adding people. And by the end of it,
Yeah.
I think there were more than 30 or 50 of us. Yeah.
Wow.
And we started, everyone was doing their own research.
Okay.
And that's what showed me that, people who want it really want it.
They do.
Everyone was doing their own research, bringing in questions and stuff like that. So we had a long list of questions that had been asked to Chiefners in Jamaica, Argentina, Venezuela, name it, any country, Ethiopia, Eritrea, any country, just name it. Yeah. So we had that long list of questions. And I didn't have a printer because I was in the middle of nowhere. But I wrote down all those questions and I'd be practicing them each and every evening.
Yeah.
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 So I'd like to mention something personal happened within that period. We lost a family member. I lost my brother during that period. And this was about 3 weeks to my Chevening interview.
Right.
So this was really, really scary for me because it ruined the trajectory of events. Everything was going up, up, up.
Yeah.
And then suddenly crashed. Yeah.
Yeah.
But my Facebook Chevening group, people I'd never met before, people I just networked with off of a Facebook group.
Right.
They came together and I had people calling me every day.
Wow.
Just to check in on how I was.
Yeah.
But even more importantly, to help me practice.
Yeah.
Asking me questions, and I'd be there. And I think it gave me the what's motisha in English?
The motivation. The motivation.
Yes.
Yeah.
It gave me the motivation to go on.
Right. Yeah.
And so I practiced with them till the very last day.
Wow.
Yeah. So when I walked into the Chevening office, I knew at that point in time that if I got this thing, amazing. I completely deserve it.
Yes.
But if I didn't get it, going by how much I'd seen, fellow peers who'd applied to it, like practice and stuff like that, I knew they also truly deserved it.
Right.
Yeah. So I'd not have felt bad. I was at that point where I knew if I get it, amazing. If I don't get it, oof, they gave it to someone who totally deserved it.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow, you are deserving of it. So you mentioned that you went to the Chevening, Chevening office, and I just want to ask you. So does it mean that you have to do the scholarship interview, perhaps in your own country? Do they have you have to go to the UK embassy or something of the sort to do the interview there, or is it online? Is there a possibility of doing it online?
I'm not well now that we are in the COVID era. Yeah, I certainly think there should be, but before this, all interviews were conducted in person. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And I recall that the format they had was they had one, a former Chevening alumni. Okay. And then someone in your field of study. Okay. And then Chevening officers, just someone from the FCU. Okay. Yeah.
And how long is the interview usually?
I think it's usually slated for 20 to 45 minutes.
Okay.
So there's people who told me their interviews were as short as 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And there's people who had a lot to say and, went the full 45 minutes.
Yeah. Wow.
But they differ.
Okay. And of
Yeah,
course, the questions differ, is it?
exactly. Yeah, I think they go according to conversation,
Yeah.
but the general theme is even at that stage, you
Yeah.
being able to display the three critical things that they look for: leadership, networking, and your future career plans.
Okay. So
Yeah,
it's in the interview, it's time to put what you said on paper into action and let them
exactly.
see that for sure you do have those three leadership, networking skills. You
Mhm.
have some good plans to come back to your country to do
Exactly. Yeah.
good things in that country. So it's pretty kind of straightforward, as much as it might be
Mhm.
down in terms of the nerves and what to expect
Yeah.
when you don't know what next. Um, so that's a very, very good thing to know.
Mhm.
You know, I actually personally didn't know that you have to do the interview in person. Well, right now,
Yeah, right now it might differ, but you had to do it in person before.
yeah,
Yeah.
amazing. So, Nyambura, I want you to touch a little bit about. We know already that Chevening is fully funded, and I
Mhm.
want you to touch a little bit about the life in the UK,
Mhm.
general life, because as much as you're going to study, you also interact with the
Yeah.
community there. You interact with the weather, which you already mentioned was crazy. You interact with the new education system. You interact
Mhm.
with people there, and
Yeah.
you stayed in Scotland. So I would
Mhm.
like you to touch a little bit about, your life in Scotland and how it was, and start from your visa process because there's also that part. Because there's also, you do
Mhm.
the interview, you're like, boom, good to go. But then when you get your acceptance letter, which I'm
Mhm.
sure you were so excited, you should even say something about
Yeah.
it. And then you have to start a whole other process of the visa and
Mhm.
then readjusting your life when you get to Scotland and all these kind of things.
Yeah.
So if you can touch a little bit of each one of those few questions that I asked,
Mhm.
and then we're going to begin on the questions that we have. I have some on my Twitter, on my Instagram as well, and we also have some questions right here. So if you can touch just a little bit about that.
Right. I hope I got all the questions, but if I miss out on any, please feel free to stop me.
Yeah.
Uh,
So let's
uh,
begin from you've done the interview. You're
mhm.
like, oh, okay, done. I don't want to think about it. Let me go
Yeah.
home. And then suddenly you find another email from Chevening.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and this is actually the advantage of choosing one of the very last interviews, because then you also don't have to sit on your nerves for so much longer, as opposed to someone who did their interview at the very beginning. Yeah. So, 4 weeks after my interview, I received my Chevening, the news from Chevening that they had offered me a full scholarship. Amazing news. I didn't even believe it.
Wow.
I think I was so stunned, and at the same time I really cried.
Rightfully so, actually.
No, I was an emotional mess when I
Yeah,
received it, because I was so happy.
yeah,
This was an opportunity that I recognized would open a lot of doors for me,
okay,
and it was also something that I really wanted to do.
yeah,
So a lot of excitement. So I must mention that at that point in time, I had not done my English test. Yeah.
yeah,
So what I got was a conditional offer from Chevening. Yeah. So the condition was, one, I had to receive an offer letter from my university and upload that.
yeah,
And then two, I had to also upload my English results.
right,
So once I got my once they sent me that, I went and did my PTE test, Pearson's test of English, and then again, I'm going to reiterate this: ask for help.
yeah,
And then I reached out to a company called UNICEF. UNICEF makes a lot of applications to UK universities on behalf of students, and this is a free service.
Okay.
on their part.
This
And
is in Kenya, right? Uniserv.
yeah, it is, but I believe they should have other offices across the continent at least. Yeah. So, and they helped me with my application, and I was able to get, because I fulfilled all the conditions, University of Edinburgh sent me my offer,
Okay.
uploaded them, and then that was it. So
Wow.
now begins the visa process where Nduta said, you need to have your passport ready.
Yes. You got
So
that. Yeah.
thankfully, I had a passport, and all you have to do is book uh, book an interview day, a
Right.
visa interview day. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I went to the visa center, had my photo taken, biometrics, etc., and that was it.
So, which means that you didn't have to pre-apply online for a
Mhm.
UK visa, because there's also that. Because nowadays,
Yeah.
did you have to do that?
Yeah, I did have to do that. There's a form you have to fill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So you fill that form online and you pay online, and then you go for
Mhm.
the interview in the UK embassy in Kenya or wherever maybe you might be,
Mhm.
right? Or
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah, but you do not pay because
okay,
it's already taken care of.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
everything is taken care of from there.
Yes.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so which means like you don't have to worry about any type of cost from there, which means that they also
Mhm.
send you your air ticket and all these kind of
Mhm.
things, right?
Exactly, exactly. So you have to book your air ticket. There's a
Okay.
link that they give you. They have their own providers and they give you a link.
Yeah.
So based on when your university course is
Yeah.
going to start,
Yeah.
then you book it. Yeah. So I'll give an example with mine. My course was to start on the 16th of September.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I booked a flight for the 10th so that I
Okay.
could be there a week earlier and just get used to everything, find my way around and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yes.
Hmm.
All right. And of course, there's usually you're given a monthly stipend for this,
Hmm.
guys. So you don't have to
Yeah.
worry about it. I don't know about the accommodation, whether you have to pay it yourself or
Hmm.
you use the school's accommodation, or that's a whole other point because that's another thing itself. Um,
Hmm.
yeah,
It is a whole other process because you can imagine Chevening has around 2,000 scholars every year. I don't know what the number is in the previous years, but that used to be the average. Just around 2,000 or under 2,000, yeah.
okay,
So they cannot surely find accommodation for everyone. So
okay,
everybody's advised to find their own accommodation. Universities sometimes offer this if they have enough space on campus. But if they do not have enough space, then you have to make your own you have to make your own overtures and make sure that you find accommodation. So I did not find accommodation on campus,
okay,
but again, initiative, these Facebook groups on like from University of Edinburgh,
yeah,
from the expat community in Edinburgh, and
right,
you ask around, and there's always, something will always come up.
yeah,
There's also if you do a little research, you could potentially see what kind of realtors
yeah,
they use in the area that you're going to be in.
okay,
Contact them and see if they are of any help to you. Ask the university as well,
yeah.
and you're bound to come across something.
Wow.
Yeah,
So you have to do your due diligence. It's the whole process.
exactly.
You have
Yeah,
to be up on your toes, honestly, because if you're not,
exactly.
things will slip away from you. But
Exactly.
of course, the adjustment again. You spoke about the
Mhm.
weather a little bit. I don't know whether you speak some bit of Scottish. You should teach us.
I I would hate to make fun of the Scottish
Like,
accent.
you must know one accent, at least just one word, maybe. I don't know.
Well, they do use the word "we" a lot. WEE, we, like a wee bit of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you never got used to that because in Kenya
Um.
we speak English in a very different accent.
I
So
know. Yeah, but they also use, like a lot of older people will call you hen, for example.
okay.
And in the first time, like an old lady called me hen, for a second there, we
Yeah,
tend to be very
no,
spirited, like, oh, is she
we
being
don't do that.
racist? Is
But
she
yeah,
being this? Is she being that? Then I
yeah.
asked, why did you call me hen? And it's like, it's a term of endearment.
Okay.
Very sweet. Yeah. So,
Wow.
but I never quite got used to, you know, people calling me hen,
Yeah.
because you get, because I lived off campus
Right.
and rented a room with family in Scotland.
Yeah.
So it was very nice for the integration. And so I got to know a lot of people. So they become endeared to you and you to them.
Yeah.
And, but I never quite found myself calling anybody hen. Maybe it's a thing for older people.
So
Yeah.
perhaps you should go back to Scotland to one of these farms and find
Yeah.
somebody who can call hen, maybe. I don't know, but
Oh.
that's good to know. So, which
Mhm.
means that you integrated well, as much as it was quite
Mhm.
a process that began all the way from August until
Yeah.
when you begin your studies in
The
September.
following year. Exactly. Yeah.
A
Yeah.
1 year process, honestly speaking, rather. I
Yeah.
think a 1 year straight up, or even more, depending
Yeah.
on on how you're trying to do your things, anyways, and whether you're trying to prepare ahead of time and all these kind of things. So, but it is
Mhm.
all worth it because
Yeah. Mhm.
it's a 1 year process that is all worth it, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And I must say that obviously the studies were amazing,
Yeah.
but even more amazing was the networking capabilities
Okay.
that you're able to acquire.
Yeah.
So, for example, going to the UK, obviously you leave a lot of your friends behind. You cannot bring them with you unless maybe they've gone there to study and stuff like that. So, some of my closest friends now are Kenyans from the Chevening study.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and as well as a lot of other people across the world. So there's a friend of mine who actually made a joke that there's not a country you can mention where Rosalind does not have a friend. And this is true,
Yeah.
because you get to meet a lot of people and it's a wealth of experience. I work in sustainability, but I have friends who are engineers, doctors, lawyers, people who are aging specialists. I think they're called gerontologists or something like that.
Yes.
Like in very different careers, reporters, etc. So you always have someone to call when you need some sort of specific advice in a certain field. Yeah,
Yeah.
or not just advice, but you're in a country in I don't know, you're in Venezuela, you can call, my friend Patricia, for example.
Yes. Please. All
You're
right.
in Ethiopia, you can call my friend Salam.
Yeah.
You're in, just name a country and you'll always find someone there because Chevening is such a strong community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, amazing. So, which means that the core of Chevening, as much as it takes you a whole roller coaster of
Mhm.
processes. In the end, you're able to network. You're able to actually grow the three things that they're looking
Mhm.
for: your leadership skills, your
Mhm.
networking skills, and of course,
Exactly.
paves a way forward for what you
Mhm.
will do next after the master.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, I mean, that is a program that everybody needs to go into, honestly speaking. And
Yeah.
I think, like you said here, you have to just go ahead and do through the process and be very diligent in terms of networking on social media, off social
Mhm.
media, introducing
Exactly.
yourself to people. Don't feel as if you're not worthy of such an opportunity just because maybe you didn't write a very good
Mhm.
statement and you
Yeah.
fear sharing that statement with someone who might criticize you or what these kind of things. So I guess this is one of the best opportunities, honestly, in the UK. And of course,
Mhm.
the fact that it's very competitive, yes,
Yeah.
but at the same time, you had Nyambura here. She went for it first time. She got it. did all the work, went through all the processes, and boom, she got in. So, guys, I think it's about time we go ahead and ask the questions, because I already have some questions. If you still have some questions that you want to post, please post them. We will definitely be ending this live session in a bit after the questions and answers. So feel free to send in your question right away. So the first question I want to ask here would be from YouTube, obviously, saying that, can somebody with a bachelor's degree, second lower of 58 to 59 points in public health, can you qualify to do a master's degree? I guess we can assume that you are trying to apply for Chevening or something.
I think they should be able to apply, because I personally know someone who had a second class lower in their undergraduate degree, a Kenyan, and they applied to the program and they still got in. Because it's all about presentation. I would say, do not, as long as you have a bachelor's degree, do not look backwards to the mistakes that you have made in your academic career. Look forward and say, because if you're planning to go into a postgraduate program, there's certainly a reason why you want to do it. So I would say, make that your focus, and you have nothing to lose. Really.
Absolutely. And even if you're looking to apply for any other master's degree, honestly, if you want, I want to chip in the name of Erasmus here. Even for Erasmus, you can still apply with a second lower, as long as, of course, you show on your statement of purpose that, hey, I've been doing this ABCDE within maybe a period of time that qualifies me to actually apply for this master's degree. So it's what you write on your application that really matters. Really,
exactly.
So good point. So the same person asks, do they need IELTS, or what type of English test? You already mentioned the English test, but maybe you can say something about that.
So I would advise them to check the Chevening website for which kind of English test that they accept. But in my year, I recall they accepted PTE, the IELTS that the person who's asked has mentioned, and TOEFLs as well, TOEFL.
Okay, and usually the cost that comes with it. So it's about 27,000 Kenya shillings, if I'm not wrong, is it? Or more?
Yeah, it varies. So I personally applied to PTE because it was just the cheapest.
Yeah.
And it was 20,000 during the year that I did it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's relatively between 20,000 to 27,000 Kenya shillings. And honestly, I think you can use this test for even other applications that you might wanna do. Maybe Chevening Scholarship, you can always use the same. But you have to book this test at the British Council, if I'm not wrong, correct?
It depends which test you're doing, because different tests have different test centers. But also, just to mention about the test, that the tests have a duration, So PTE, for example, was valid for 2 years, which meant in the event that I would not have succeeded at my first go, I could still use those same results for the following year. Yeah.
So it has a validity period of depending 1 year. I don't know which one has the highest validity period. Honestly, I think I'm not quite sure. I'm not gonna speak into that.
Me neither. Yeah. But like I said, just check the Chevening website, which is also again a wealth of resources.
Yes.
And make sure that you have the correct test that they're looking for. The sooner you can do it, the better. But it will not disqualify you if you've not done it by the point of the interview. I hadn't, for example. Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. So, which means that do your due diligence again. So, go and find out. But of course, you can use this same test for other applications and even the following year, just in case you don't get it the first time. So, Now, I want to go ahead and ask the next question, and it says here, hey ladies, quick question for Nyambura. Did you take an English test? If yes, which one and where? Already that was answered. And I mean, you can definitely check on the website as well. Just in case you want some more information, please feel free to log on to the Chevening. I keep saying that wrong. Forgive me. Because of where I come from in Kenya, so you might know or not, depending. We do not recognize CH and SH. I mean, don't worry about it. It's like anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. So please check the website and see where you can actually do it from. So I'm gonna go to the next question here, and I guess we've answered, quite a number of them. And the person was asking, hey, Nduta, can I actually apply for the scholarship if I never got it the first time? I've been trying and have never gotten it. I'm feeling frustrated and all these kind of things. So, I mean...
I would say keep trying, yeah? I mentioned at the beginning of this interview that I had a friend who got it on the third try, yeah? So... ask, get your essays peer reviewed, find scholars or a chapter of like an alumni chapter of the Chevening chapter in your country. Ask them questions. There's always resources, yeah.
Okay, amazing. So now the next question was about, can I move in with my family if I'm coming to study for the masters, even if it's just for 1 year? Is there a certain form of fund that they can get?
I'm not sure I'm clear on that question. Can they go to the UK with their family, or their family is already living in the UK?
No, so they wanted to move with their family from Kenya. They were asking whether there's that provision of maybe some programs actually give some sort of stipend to the family joining in. And so I think they were asking about this, honestly. So,
I have seen people go to the UK with their families.
Okay.
But I'm not too sure of what provision Chevening gives. Yeah, because it's not something that I did. I would say certainly reach out to someone in either at the Chevening office, the Chevening chapter of your country, or even on their Facebook group, and ask some of these questions. Yeah.
And I guess the other question, I think we've answered quite a lot of it, because one was also about the essays. The final question was actually about, can you work while you're doing your scholarship or not?
So the visa you'll be on is a Tier 4 visa, which allows you 20 hours of work per week. So if you are going to work, make sure you do not violate that, because it's a term of your visa.
That's good to know. So I mean, I know the monthly stipend is £1,000, if I'm not wrong, right? So
thereabout. It depends on which territory of the UK you're in.
Okay. So it ranges from, say, 800 to 1,000, or depends?
It depends also on you can't really say how much exactly the stipend is, because it depends on the year. The rate, there's a lot of influencing factors: the rate of inflation, the city you're going to live in. Some cities tend to be cheaper than others.
Okay. I think I'm gonna leave the questions at that. And guys, if you have any more questions, please feel free to send them over to us, and we'll be more than happy to answer them, and maybe direct you to the right groups if you obviously want to go ahead and shoot your shot into this scholarship. Please go ahead and do that. Do your studies as soon as now. Really, what are you waiting for? Do it now. Just go on Facebook, look for this Chevening group, go on LinkedIn, network as much as you can. Honestly, this is one of the skills that they look for. So why not even start practicing as soon as now? YouTube is going to be also a very good school for you. There are several videos people do about Chevening. They may be alumna, depending on what type of experiences that they have had. This is one of the videos that you have to watch. You can share this with someone, like you said, it can be your relative, your sister, your ex, or someone else, and they can come and study in the UK. And guys, like I said before, you do not have to be emotionally invested into this. It can be a lot. It can be draining. It can be, an up and down task, but you know what? It's definitely worth it. So Nyambura, I just want you to let us know one parting shot for someone who is listening into this and then thinking, oh, Chevening now, okay, to the UK, okay. This might not be for me. You know how we qualify ourselves even before we actually apply for anything. So if you can see one parting shot, for somebody who's actually looking into applying, whether they graduated this year, last year, whenever. So what is one thing that you can tell somebody who is looking to apply?
You have absolutely nothing to lose. One, I didn't know anyone. I didn't even know Chevening until I did my research. Yeah. So you have absolutely nothing to lose. You don't have to know anyone at the FCO. It's an extremely, extremely fair process. I see people on online platforms, saying, oh, these are reserved for XYZ people. No. It's an extremely fair process. I can vouch for this. So go ahead and apply. And most importantly, one theme we've been on during this call, ask for help, do your due diligence, and let your asking for help not be, how do I write the essay? Write the essay and have someone, review it for you, So ask for help and you have nothing to lose. Go for it. I'll also say this. Before Chevening, there's something we say in Kenya, like before and after Aromat.
Yeah. Actually,
and,
about that after the process, after the whole studying and the opportunities that you get,
Exactly, yeah. So before Chevening, my work process, my work application process was very dull, yeah. But based on the experiences that I had at Chevening, both academically and the networking, the people that I met, whether they were Chevening scholars or just other scholars or friends I met locally in the town that I lived in, there's a wealth of experience that they added to me that was very integral for my post Chevening experience. So apply to it. There's no regrets. If you applied last year or the year before that, or for the past 3 years and you've not been able to get it, reach out, ask for help, and try again. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, which means that, this elevates your profile even into employability. So, which means that, of course, when you're going back to Kenya, you can definitely fall into a very good position just because of the experience that you've had and you've learned a new way of doing things. Because that is one thing that I talk about scholarships. They change your way of thinking. Even going abroad, anyways, changes the way you think about things.
It does.
There's a certain form of culture that we think in Kenya that for you to get higher, you have to go through someone. So, and it's not necessarily actually usually supposed to be the case. But we have this culture in Kenya that we have it so locked into our heads that we disqualify ourselves very easily just because you don't know someone who knows someone who knows someone else who knows someone. Guys, I think that we have given you all the tools, and Nyambura has been a wealth of tips and, telling her stories and, hanging out with us right here, and, telling us the whole story about Chevening. So there's no reason as to why you shouldn't actually go ahead and apply for this. And thank you so much for staying on wherever you're listening us from. Please, I do hope that this has been a helpful discussion and that you can use it. And in the future, we can definitely see you in the UK. I love to see the messages that have been coming lately into my inbox saying, hey, I got my scholarship. I went ahead and applied for this. I love to see the YouTube comments as well when you guys say, hey, I actually went ahead and applied for the opportunity. Just the other day, I was reading a comment of somebody who listened to our Africa Compt Germany fellowship, and she went ahead and applied for it immediately after that live session. So I'm like, yes, this is the spirit that we want, and that's the reason why we do this live sessions, just to inform you and to show you that this is not a far-fetched thing. This is something that exists and exists for Kenyans, because I guess this is the empowerment that Kenyans need for them to be able to apply for these opportunities that are available. I think so, right? So, Nyambura, thank you so much. A special thanks to you for taking the time in your evening to hang out with us on this channel. Guys, if you have not yet subscribed, I don't know what you're waiting for. We have quite a lot that is coming up. So please go ahead and subscribe. It is for free. Halavis Queen, I see you. Thank you so much for joining us. And I do hope that you're good. And guys, I think I'm going to leave it at that. And I do hope to see you going for it. So until next time, have a good one, guys.
Bye. Thanks for hosting, Duta.